This tutorial will begin to shape up the features of the face, and in this particular character we started with the sphere, the poles at the ears, and that leaves us a nice light working area for the face to work. So the first thing we want to make sure that we're doing is keeping with the correct proportions for the face. Generally halfway between the chin and the top of the head is the line of the eye, straight across the pupils. And a typical rule of thumb is that there are 5 eyes across from ear to ear. So starting with an eye width in the center, the tear duct will start on either eye, on either side of that eye. So that's a general measurement for getting the correct scale of your eyes. So this will be the line of our eyes. Now halfway between the line of the eye and the chin is generally where the under part of the nose will be, and then halfway between that and that is typically where the mouth will begin to fall. So as you can see, this layout makes it pretty simple for going in and cutting up this face. And as we're working, we want to place our edge loops around the areas of the face which require the most deformation, and that being the eyes and the mouth. The first thing I'm going to do is select on Poly Subobject, and I'm going to be using the Cut tool to simply begin to create some edge loops to work with for the eyes. And the mouth. Now this is very general, but it begins to lay out the face in a way where you can begin to add edge loops and work these verts into the shapes that you want them. And the nose, we'll start with a shape right in this direction. Come back and not go quite toward the center and not out at the eye loop, and then we'll just come down a little bit past this and come on in, and that'll begin to shape our nose. As I continue, I'll want to come right in here and at this point actually create several polys where I'll come in and be able to take those and extrude those for eyelids and so forth. Same thing with the mouth. I'm going to come in here and create what will then become the internal part of the mouth. Just give myself something to carve out. Actually, let's go a little closer here. Alright. I want to come in here. I'm going to use my extrude and simply extrude that back. Now, as you can see, there's going to be some trash here to throw out later, but this will get our general shape going. And same with the eyes. Select those. Select on the extrude button, move. Oops. And extrude those back. Alright, now that's the first definition, and what will become our face. And as we continue to add the edge loops in here and define the edge loops around the face and around the mouth, we'll just continue working these out until they combine, and I'll show you then what to do with the area of the cheek where those meet up. Now, as you use the extrude tool, you'll notice that you're making geometry that you don't want. You just go in here and delete it. And continue working. It takes quite a while to build up a base mesh, continue to save out iterations from your build to your library, because if you do that, you're good about doing that with all your models, you won't ever have to go back to square one to build a model again, or very rarely if you start building your library now. So this is the most time-consuming part of modeling, and that's building up from scratch. So again, start your library now. You will speed up your workflow tremendously by having base meshes to launch from, and your producer and lead artist will love you for that. Where you feel you need to lay in additional edge loops to get the definition that you need, polygon, go ahead and drop them in with your cut tool or other tool, edge loop tool, where you need them, and continue working. Alright, now I've run across an area where I don't really like what's happening. I need to fix that. So I go back to my cut tool, get right in there, and I can fix it right up. Get a hold of that edge, whoops, and delete it. I have some edges in here that I don't really need anymore, so I'm just going to work those into my mesh. Target weld, I'm going to pull that right down onto this vert here, and then I'm going to go in and delete the edges that I no longer need. I'm going to keep my mesh nice and clean as I build, and continue to maintain those edge loops that I want and need. Actually, this is going to require a number of edge loops in here, so go ahead and begin dropping those in and getting them to match with my current edge loops as I work. Now back to pulling verts. As you can see, I'm cutting up the edges and creating the musculature that's around the mouth, creating the edge loops around the mouth. Now I find myself with this edge loop that I don't really need any longer, so I'm going to go ahead and select those edges and simply delete those and make sure that the verts are all taken care of as well. So that we don't have any unwelded verts, don't have function. At this point, I'm going to go in here and clean out the trash that we have left over from our extrusion. Alright, here I want to draw your attention to what's called a pole, where 5 or more edges come together into a single vert. These do not subdivide well, so you do want to bury them in shadow areas as much as possible. I have one right in the middle of the cheek here, which I usually put right there because of these edge loops that come around here. It seems to be okay if I put it right here. I think I'll put another edge loop in here to join these. Give myself a little more definition around the head. Right above the ear is usually the widest part of the head, and so I want to make sure that I have enough geometry here in order to portray that. So now that I have some there, I can go in here, F, Z, and go ahead and pull that out so that it looks a little bit more normal. As you can see on my sketch, it's the widest part of the skull right above the ear, and my ear might be set out just a little bit too far, so I'm going to make sure that that is pulled in as well, so I have a little bit more natural looking shape to the skull now. Alright, and the other thing I wanted to draw your attention to is these these points up here that are left without edges. You'll need to make sure that those are connected properly also, so that you don't have a 5-sided polygon up here. So up here, it's usually right under the hairline. If you have bold character, you might want to take these a little bit further back before you triangulate, but usually what I do is go in here and cut these back away from the hairline a little bit and up toward the center, and that is enough to complete that area without adding additional polygons in the back that you won't need. So you don't need any more geometry back here for the low-res version, so there's no reason to continue those areas around here. Now that you have additional geometry in here, though, you want to go ahead and shape your head up and take advantage of those. Now most skulls actually have a little bit of a bump just here on the crest there, but unless I have my high resolution geometry that I'm going to put on there, I usually don't show that as prominently as it usually is. Nor will I actually pull those out as much as they normally are. So, getting a little bit better shape head in here now, and you can go ahead and feed those edge loops down into the neck a little bit. I'm going to need a little additional geometry down here so that I can get in there and get some really nice muscles and tendons in here in my high-res version.